Coming up on tonight's UAP News Show.
Contact in the Desert 2025. Full disclosure energy is here.
The brain's secret lock on Psi is a time to break free.
Still unchecked, the drone dilemma.
And UAPDA call to action.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie. We are back at it again for another episode of UAP Society's weekly UAP News Show. I'm stoked to get started, so without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Greetings, cosmic enthusiasts. It's Justin here. Let's dive right in.
Up first, Contact in the Desert 2025. Full disclosure energy is here. Hold on to your butts, truth seekers, because this weekend the desert was buzzing with more than just energy vortexes and solar flares. That's right, Contact in the Desert 2025 officially happened, and it's already served up some high strangeness and cosmic insight to make even the most seasoned skywatchers head spin. Right now, the world's largest UAP conference is bringing together some of the most brilliant minds and brave voices in the field, covering everything from non-human intelligence, AI, future tech and space travel, to consciousness, wellness, and the secrets still locked inside those black vaults. And guess what? We're diving into all of the action. In this story, we're showcasing the most exciting photos, videos, and revelations that have emerged online so far. Whether it's mind-bending theories, epic speaker moments, or otherworldly visuals, we've got your backstage pass to all the cosmic currents flowing through this year's gathering.
To kick us off, here's a News Nation clip where Ross Coulthart talks about this cosmic event.
The world's top UFO investigators, experts, and researchers, they're rubbing elbows and sharing notes at this year's Contact in the Desert conference. This year's theme is Event Horizon, focusing on what's to come for humans and how artificial intelligence will play a big role in shaping our future. Another big topic of discussion at the conference this year is government disclosure, of course. We've been talking a lot about that one over the past 2 years. And our News Nation special correspondent Ross Coulthart has played a major role in lifting the veil on what the U.S. government knows about UFOs. And he is one of the lecturers at Contact in the Desert this year. He joins me now. Ross, if this isn't the biggest meeting of the minds that there ever was, I don't know what would be. Conference officially underway. What are your major takeaways or themes that you're noticing so far?
Good morning, Marky. Well, it's always fun attending a conference to discuss something that the US government says is nonsensical and has dismissed out of hand. The allegations of retrieval programs of alien spacecraft, allegations of deep underground military bases, something we explored just a few weeks ago on News Nation. But the evidence is there, and it's quite fascinating to actually talk to people who've been on the ground, experiences, people who say they've had direct contact with non-human intelligence. And look, it's not something you can dismiss out of hand, because there are over 2,000 people attending this conference, and a lot of them are highly professional people who want to talk in detail about experiences they've had and knowledge they've gained.
And keep unlifting that veil that you and I have talked about so frequently here. I also know you've taken your podcast called Need to Know on the road with Bryce Zabel, and I understand you'll be hosting a live show later on this morning. What's the focus of that show going to be?
Well, Bryce Zabel and I have worked together for a year or two now to work a podcast that basically explores disclosure. What's going on? What's the analysis that we can do that helps the public understand what's really happening at the moment in efforts to try and persuade the US government to be more open about what I do genuinely believe is an ongoing cover-up. I've spoken, as you know, directly to people working inside a program that the government denies exists. A program involving the retrieval of non-human technology. And I know a lot of people out there will be intensely skeptical, but what we're doing today and what we're exploring all the time is the allegations coming from specific individuals, including David Grush, who appeared on this network, and including, of course, Jake Barber, who exclusively went on the network in January this year. And so a lot of what we're doing is reassessing that evidence and presenting it to this audience of, I can tell you, very highly skeptical people who want to hear the evidence and they want to test it for themselves. And a lot of people are asking, what's the US government doing to address these concerns? Is Congress ever really going to address this issue, or is it going to try and sweep it under the carpet? And so a lot of the evidence is being canvassed over the next few days here in Indian Wells near Palm Springs in California, and we're going to be reporting on that consistently for you over the next few days.
And speaking of that, I mean, this is the 11th year for Contact in the Desert. When you get all these like-minded people together for a conference like this, does it get the American people any closer to the answers that we've been looking for in the headlines the past 2 years, what the government knows, to your point, drones over Jersey, et cetera? Does this get us closer to that, this conference?
I think it does. One of the things I'm noticing is the level of identifiability for this innocuous Australian journalist who's covering this issue. I can't walk through an airport now in America without being stopped by people who know Reality Check and want to talk about the possibility that the government is hiding something about UFOs. There's a much greater degree of engagement. There's no longer the ridicule and the stigma from members of the public. A lot of the media continues to treat it like a joke, but frankly, a lot of the public don't. They want serious journalism into this, and that's what we're trying to do for them.
Yeah, they want answers. Well, Ross, I know you have a busy day ahead and a lot of prep to do for the show this morning, so thank you so much for joining me, and I'll let you go. Have a fabulous Friday.
Real pleasure, Marky. Have a nice weekend.
And keep us posted. I want to check in on the other side of this conference.
And if you're ever wondering what's the best way to make an entrance at an event like Contact in the Desert, check out this next clip.
Does anybody know who Richard Dolan is? You do? Where is he? How about his wife, Tracy? Do we see Richard Dolan's wife, Tracy? Is she here? Tracy, could you please come up here and help us find Richard? Okay, this is not working out, so maybe they're not really as good of friends as I thought. At least my producer, Bree, is going to come through. Bree? Is any of my dependable friends here? All right, Matthew, where are Bree, Dolan, and Tracy? Nobody? Matthew, have you seen them?
Help me.
Matthew's going to see if he can find them. Matthew, can you call them? Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a minute. There they are. I had no idea that they were on a flying saucer here at Contact in the Desert. An actual flying saucer, ladies and gentlemen. There's Bree, Richard, Tracy. They even have a flight crew with them.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. This is insane.
Oh, yeah. That's actually Richard Dolan's car.
Well, I still want to talk to you later about that probing exam you gave me. Everything else was great, don't get me wrong.
You should be filming that.
Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you, Tommy. That was wonderful.
Okay.
Get us the hell out of here.
Woo! Well, nice of you to join us. Where are you?
Had to deal with some probing questions along the way. I'd rather not discuss, if you don't mind.
We're going to keep that private. We're emerging from the flying saucer, ladies and gentlemen.
My dear.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Dolan, Tracy Dolan, and Bree Match. Thank you.
We made it!
You made it alive. They go over here?
Thank you to Tommy.
Thank you to Tommy, our UFO driver today. Thank you, Tommy.
There we go.
Awesome. Just what we expected, right? Look at the top. So cool.
That is awesome.
I think he's going to actually take off, folks, so get ready. We might actually launch.
Look at its license plate.
I know, it's awesome.
Looking hilarious, right? Hey, Mom, how you doing, sweetie?
I see Paul Smith.
I can't see.
Are we live right now?
Yep.
All right.
Contact in the desert is like, I want to go next. Hi, everybody.
That was fun.
How was it?
That was a lot of fun.
How about that arrival, folks? That is a way to make an entrance, am I right?
Oh my.
To hear a little more about what Richard Dolan spoke about at this event, check this out.
Most recently, he's written a large, the comprehensive chronology on USOs, submersible objects. And it's, come out in its first volume, and it's fantastic, and you should all buy it. And Richard, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. I didn't know there would be all these people here. I thought we were just going to sit down. This is great. And I'm hoping my voice holds out for this, because at these types of events, you come in and it's just nonstop running my mouth. But I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, people want to hear from you, so keep running your mouth. But one question, I kind of want to start actually, because you are so deep on UFOs. You've gone through so many cases, and in UFOs in the national security state, you bring up this idea of a breakaway civilization. And you have Catherine Austin Fitz, this former housing and urban development employee, who then went on to be a consultant, who's uncovered trillions of dollars worth of fraud.
Discrepancies in accounting, yeah.
Discrepancies in accounting. Yeah, there you go. It's a nice euphemism. What is a breakaway civilization, and what is the nature of the contact that we're seeing?
Yeah, I haven't talked a lot about the idea of a breakaway civilization in a little while, but I still think it's probably true. And just to give a background, it was a phrase that I coined, I don't know, about almost 20 years ago now. I do a lot of reading of other types of historians, and I was reading a historian named Arnold Toynbee. Some of you know of him. He writes meta-histories of civilizations, and I was kind of in that headspace. And I thought, what is it that actually makes a civilization distinctive and unique? And I thought, well, there's a lot of things. There's like your social structure and your economy and your ideology, your cosmology. And I thought, if you really think about the classified world, especially like assuming like the Roswell event or other crash retrievals happen, you have this very, very deep classified structure that keeps the technology and the science classified away from you and away from me, so that we can't really look at it. And I thought, well, what did they do with those breakthroughs in their technology? Well, they're going to learn new things, and they're going to collect, privately maybe patent them and keep them away from the rest of us, and they're just in danger of running more and more away from us. Will they have functional flying saucers one day? Can they go off-world? Can they encounter other beings and all of this? And I thought, well, they're really actually kind of like a separate civilization when it's broken away from our own. And it was a totally theoretical idea. It still is, I guess, but I think there's evidence for it in a lot of different ways. And so that's what I was talking about. And I think it's a kind of a breakaway group that has its own legal protections and all of that. So I've known Catherine Austin Fitz for many years. Absolutely admire her work. She's a brilliant financial expert, you could say. She served with the first George Bush Senior administration back in the late 80s, early 90s as Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. She told a story. It should be funny, but it's actually really tragic. She said, when I went into HUD, I said, I want to look at the accounting, I want to look at all the books. And they said, well, no, you're not authorized to see that. She says, the hell, I'm not authorized to see that. So she finally got her way, and she said, what happened when they brought in the financial records? She said, the old library carts with all the books on them. She said they wheeled in one after another, filled, stacked with papers, like organized, disorganized, and she's like, God could not pull this apart. She said, you need the greatest accountants in the world to undo this god-awful mess. And she concluded, like, this whole system is designed so that it is impossible to audit. And that was her start.
Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I thought that Richard Dolan's entrance into Contact in the Desert was pretty groovy. Tracy and Bree, I think her name was, and Richard all showed up in that UFO. And I mean, it seemed like some people knew what was going on, and some people were like expecting it because they had their cameras pointed in the direction that the UFO was going to be coming at. So some people knew. I feel like other people didn't know. So I don't know. I think it was fun.
Yeah, that was definitely pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
I wonder how long it took them to build that little car.
I wonder what it is. Like, whose car is it? They said it was Richard's, but I don't really think it was Richard's.
It probably is.
You think so?
Yeah, why not? He probably had it made just for the event.
Hey, I mean, that's even cooler if you ask me. And then in that clip of him talking up on the stage with Jesse Michaels about Catherine Fitz, I mean, we spoke about her a couple shows ago where we were talking about how if you follow the money, you figure out some shady shit is going down. So I was glad to see Richard talking about her.
Absolutely.
All right, so to move on to the next phase of this story, we're going to check out some killer tweets from people that you just might recognize. This part for me is like really fun because we get to see all our favorite podcasters and UAPers and YouTubers and whatever just all hanging out together having fun. So for me, this is like really, really interesting. All right, so this next tweet from Stephen Diner, UAP Unidentified Alien Podcast says, "What a happy accident running into these two, Nick Pope, MOD, and Patrick from Vetted Podcast." Very cool. So we got Patrick, Nick Pope, and Steven. Awesome.
And next up, we have Ashton Forbes, who says, "Just three chilled dudes." From left to right, we have Ashton Forbes, UAP Podcast 850, and Patrick from Vetted.
Very cool. All right, next up is this tweet from Dr. Dan that reads, "Cruised the lobby last night with Patrick. Discovered non-UFO connections with the animated Jeremy Corbell, who was generous with his energy. The genuine article on screen and off." And in this picture, we have Jeremy Corbell, Patrick, and I'm almost positive that's Dr. Dan. I'm not really familiar with him, but I'm like 99.9% sure that is. Yeah. So cool.
And then UAP Studies Podcast says, "Okay, not a fan of my face in this one, but my boy Disclosure Team X made it to contact." And then from left to right, we have Jason Guillemetti and Vinny Adams.
And then next, you should totally recognize these next two faces. A tweet from James Fox says, "My hero." And then in here, we have James Fox and George now. All right, that was awesome. Next, we're going to look at some revelations that have come out of Contact in the Desert so far. Dr. Dan says, "Breaking. Live from Contact, Bryce Stable says he's found the note given to him at the Dark Skies premiere. Quote, 'You've got most of it right, but not all.' End quote. Sound, light, and frequency. Hidden 20 years, now going public." And then in another tweet, somebody must have asked, like, when is this information coming out? Because he says, no, it's coming out in his book that will be released soon.
So that's pretty cool, in my opinion. I definitely think that everything is related, and it's related by sound, frequency, vibration. You know, everything is vibrating.
To include that Nikola Tesla quote, I could not resist.
Yeah. Well, it's real. It's true.
It's absolutely true. And before we move on to the next segment, I just want to say that I really enjoy looking at all these pictures of everybody hanging out. It's like, I don't know, it's making me feel happy.
Yeah, I really wish that we could have gone.
I know. I wish we could have gone too, but maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year.
All right, let's keep this momentum going. Total Disclosure Podcast says, "Last night was my first time doing a group skywatch and human-initiated contact. Huge shout out to the Astral and Da Yarbo. I was hooked up to a monitor for my brainwaves as well as my heart rate / vitals while also filming any objects that might appear. We had some weird ones and monitoring RF on the 1 gigahertz range often seen at hotspots like Skinwalker Ranch, measuring my conscious reaction in real time to try to understand any correlation. We did a baseline and then a guided meditation. The Astral, Dayarborough, and myself and my camera crew were all out there and we'll be working together and putting out a video episode of Total Disclosure on location." Okay, so not only do we have people hanging out at Contact in the Desert, but we have people doing heists / E5 events at Contact in the Desert.
That's cool.
Pretty freaking cool.
Right. And they said they got some weird objects on film, so.
Well, I'm looking forward to what
Me too.
episode they're going to be putting out based off of their efforts. But let's check out what they put on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So, we got Daryl here.
You just have to get it lined up.
We got Tyler Astral here. What's up, man?
What up, man?
UFO Twitter and life, right? Oh my God, I
pinch zoom a little bit, Jared. Might need to pinch zoom in, Jared the Jedi.
Jared here. We got Jared. Thank you. We're gonna try to make contact tonight in a way I've never tried personally, by human-initiated contact. So we're gonna start by trying to chill ourselves out with a cool guided meditation, center ourselves. Use love as a proponent and a modality, and try to make contact. And you know, we kind of did already. There's a UFO here at least. But no, all kidding aside, I'm really excited. and hope we get some tangible results, but I'm just here for the experience. That's what I say when I go to the woods. I always say I'm here to observe, not to disturb.
That's cool. Where you at? What state?
All right, that seemed like that was a lot of fun, to be honest.
I mean,
so.
results they got, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too. But it's just it's something to look forward to when they put the video out. You know.
I wonder who guided their meditation. Like if they pulled a guided meditation off of YouTube, or if somebody in the group guided the meditation.
Yeah.
I'm curious how they like did that. I'm curious what their like protocols were.
Yeah, me too.
Because I mean, you guys probably know by now, but like we do CE5 all the time, and we just did a CE5 on my server this past weekend that was hosted by Peter Maxwell Slattery, which was like a once in a lifetime opportunity. It was really freaking cool. And
thanks, Pete.
Yeah, thank you, Pete. Shout out, Pete. And I'm always excited when people are brave enough to try heist/CE5, because a lot of people are like, I don't want aliens to take over my brain. I'm not doing it.
Right.
It's like
that doesn't really happen. Yeah. All right. Another interesting concept was that UAP Juan tweeted one thing that George Knapp reiterated in his talk yesterday at Contact in the Desert. He doesn't believe the U.S. government will ever voluntarily disclose the existence of UFOs and NHI. It has to be forced upon them. Ways and means, ways and means.
How do you force the government to disclose this kind of shit, though? And why haven't we done it yet?
I think, to be honest, I think it's in the works. I think it's in process. Everything that we've been doing over the last 4 or 5 years has contributed to forcing their hand to disclose. I mean, we have a secrets task force. We have we have legislation in place. Yeah, not all the legislation got passed, but there is.
The last story.
Okay.
Okay.
But you know, I feel like there's been a lot that's been going on, especially behind the scenes.
There is a lot going on, and I mean, if we could force the government to admit that we're not alone and that they've known about all this stuff for like since the 30s at least, when the whole thing in Italy happened with Mussolini and all that. But I feel like a lot of people have said this, and I tend to agree that the main reason why the government is not disclosing this information is because then they have to admit that they've been lying this whole time. It's not just a matter of telling somebody a truth and okay, here's the truth. It's this is the truth, and we've been actively lying to you for the past however many decades in order to keep this shit up. And oh, by the way, we've unalived people in the process to keep it a secret. So I feel like that's probably the biggest reason why they're not doing it. However, time's ticking and people are pushing for this. So hey, I think we can get some stuff done.
Yeah.
You think we can get some stuff done?
I hope so.
Okay. That's why we do this show, to try to help that effort. Okay. And to finish this story off with some awe-inspiring laughs, let's take a look at this tweet from Vetted that says magic. Let's check this out.
King of Hearts.
A S H T O. What'd you say? King of Hearts.
What the fuck? What the fuck, bro?
You even spelled my name correctly. You could have spelled my name wrong. It could mess up the
Bro,
how
did you do that?
Oh, good.
Cut the deck anywhere you like.
How does he do this?
Okay,
Cut the deck.
Okay.
Put that on top.
Okay.
You know what? Do it behind your back so I can't see what you're doing. Do it behind your back. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me know when
You want me to
it's
cut
done.
it again?
Cut it again.
Cut
anywhere
it
you
again,
like.
okay.
Okay, cut it again.
You got it?
Okay, I cut it.
Yeah.
One more time. One more time.
Well, just for say, you know.
Oh man, I love
Done?
that. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Take the no, keep it back there.
Okay.
Take the top or the bottom card.
Okay.
And put it in your pocket. Don't look at it.
Okay. I'm not looking.
Yeah.
Dude, if this,
I mean, at this point, no one knows what that card is.
nobody knows.
No.
Not you, not him, not me. There's no way we can do
There's
that.
no way.
Shuffle deck.
Yeah.
Is that a shuffle deck?
Yeah. Yes.
I
yes.
randomly picked a card.
No,
put it in
it's
my pocket,
shuffled.
100%.
All right.
Yeah.
You think it's a black card or a red card?
I have a feeling it's a red card.
You feel it's a red card.
Yeah.
You feel it here?
Yeah, I feel it right here.
Oh, in your heart.
Yeah, it's weirdly, yeah, right there.
So like a heart?
Like a red heart?
I'm afraid it might be a heart. It feels
Okay, a
like,
heart.
Yeah.
What's like a strong value heart card?
Probably a big one, like maybe like a king. Maybe.
Well, you just said king of hearts.
Oh, okay, queen maybe then.
Queen or maybe an ace.
Yeah, ace would be a big
Do you
one.
think ace is high or low? What do you think?
Ace is high generally.
So ace would be higher than king.
Yeah, it would be higher.
The ace of hearts.
Yeah, ace hearts would be higher.
No way.
No.
That's impossible. What the fuck?
I swear, I'm not on this joke. I'm whatever this trick is.
You put that card back there,
I
right?
put it on my. I took the.
I saw
bottom part
you.
off
I
after
saw you. Wait a second,
Wow.
dog.
Okay.
What the fuck, bro?
He's good. He's good, guys. He's not just a podcaster. He's
don't-
also a magician.
I just don't even.
He's giving us free content right now.
I just don't.
As above, so below.
I think it's really cool seeing Ashton hanging out with Patrick and Chris Ramsey doing magic shows.
Right.
Contact in the desert. I love all this like broy stuff that's happening that I see coming.
Yeah,
from
me too.
the desert.
Me too.
I'm here for all this broy stuff
Mhm.
because it's like, you know, like to be a podcaster on YouTube and to make shows and to converse with people online, you know, that's one thing. But when you meet somebody face to face, you hear their voice, you read their body language, you feel their energy, you literally hang out with it. Like that adds like a whole new layer.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I
Right.
guarantee you everybody that went to Contact in the Desert for the first time this year, like Patrick, for example, like I guarantee you he walked away feeling way more enthused and passionate about this subject because now he's actually like met the people that are involved. He has relationships with them. It's like, I don't know. I feel like when you meet people in person, you get like there's like a closer,
Absolutely.
I don't know
right.
how to explain. I hope I'm making sense.
You are.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm sure we all know what you're talking about.
Cool.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of other people that were at Contact in the Desert that I have not heard anything from. For example, the one person that's specifically coming to mind is Linda Moulton Howe. I don't have.
Oh, was she there?
Yeah.
Really?
I
Okay.
haven't heard anything from her yet, though. So I guess I got to stay tuned to Earth Files, which is her YouTube channel, to see if anything comes out of there.
I know she's been sick lately.
Oh no.
hmm
What kind of sick?
I don't know. And just that the past couple shows that they put out have been reruns.
Because she's been sick?
I think so.
Oh. Okay, well, prayers and a team of angels to Linda Moulton Howe and her team, and I hope that she gets better soon.
Yeah, me too. But so Contact in the Desert looked like it was a lot of fun. It really does, right?
We got to go one year.
Next year. Let's go next year. Let's
go.
make that happen.
Yeah. I mean, like Ross said in that first video that we played, there was over 2,000 people there.
Yeah.
That's a huge turnout.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of people
It's
there.
probably going to be even more next year.
Yeah, and if you look at the list of speakers, which I don't have because the event ended yesterday at this point because today's the 3rd. So yeah, I didn't show the list of speakers just because the event already happened. But if you guys want to check that out, the website is in the video description box, so you can check that out. But I would like to know which moment from Contact in the Desert has inspired you the most so far. Which topic excites you more? Non-human intelligence, AI and tech, or spiritual wellness? What kind of information do you hope comes out of this year's Contact in the Desert? Let us know in the comment section below.
Up next, the brain's secret lock on psi. Is it time to break free? What if I told you your brain might be blocking your natural psychic abilities? According to recent findings, our brains may not lack psychic ability, but instead be suppressing it. Imagine a filter in the mind that tones down our extrasensory input. But when researchers used techniques like RTMS or studied people with brain injuries, something strange happened. Psi effects became easier to detect. What if we had the power all along? In this story, we're diving into the science behind psi, what we know so far about the mind's mysterious connection to unseen forces, and how one event is set to turn that curiosity into competition. Let's get into it. A tweet from Jesse Michaels says,
"This man found that the brain might actually block or filter out psi, psychic or extrasensory abilities. He and his team of researchers have uncovered evidence suggesting that the human mind may possess latent abilities to influence seemingly random events, abilities that are typically suppressed by the brain itself." Dr. Morris Friedman, head of neurology at Baycrest and professor of neurology at the University of Toronto, along with Malcolm A. Binns, Jed A. Meltzer, Rohila Hashimi, and Robert Chen, authored a research paper titled Enhanced Mind-Matter Interactions Following RTMS-Induced Frontal Lobe Inhibition in 2023. Provides link. In this study, they tested healthy people by using a technique called RTMS, which temporarily weakens or shuts down a small area of the brain. When they used RTMS on the left middle frontal area, they saw a noticeable increase in psi-related effects, just like they had predicted. They analyzed the results in a way that matched their main theory and found clear evidence to support it. Their earlier research on people with brain damage in the frontal lobe showed that a specific part of the brain, the left middle frontal area, might be involved in this blocking. This suggests that the brain may normally stop psi from happening, and when that blocking area is weakened, either by injury or temporarily through RTMS, psi effects become easier to detect.
All right, so I think I've said this on the show before, but I really feel like the brain acts like a rev limiter. Like I really think it does. Like we can only see a small percentage of the light spectrum. We can only hear a small percentage of sound stuff going on. And I really feel like the human body is meant to act as like a rev limiter because if you listen to like NDE stories or people that have had out of body experiences, it's like they can see perfectly 360 degrees around them. They can hear stuff from however many miles away. If they think of some place or someone, they are instantaneously there with that person in that place, even if it's a place that they've never been to in their physical life, in their human body. So I don't know. I really feel like there's a lot of things going on that like we don't have a really great understanding of yet. I feel like we kind of know some stuff and we have a little bit of knowledge of it, but there's like a really big picture going on that we are not like fully comprehensive of. And so I wanted to ask you guys if the brain really acts as a filter, blocking our access to psychic or extrasensory perceptions, what do you think its purpose is? I mean, is it protecting us? Is it limiting us? That's what I think. I think it's limiting us, or simply tuned into a different frequency than reality requires. Maybe we're just on the wrong radio channel.
I think it's survival, to be honest with you. I think our brains filter out anything that does not directly contribute to our survival.
Which means that there's things being filtered out.
Absolutely right.
So that right there kind of gives it away. Yeah. All right. And to take us to the next level of this Psy story, let's take a look at this next video from Chris Bledsoe's daughter, Emily.
This is huge. The world's first psychic competition and educational conference is coming to Charlottesville, Virginia this August. Literally, you will have the chance to work with world-renowned experts in the field of consciousness and psychic abilities, to workshop your own abilities, to learn about your own potential, and to just like, there will be games. Imagine us just like watching people compete where they're doing literal psychic stuff. Not to mention, this is like right around the corner from the Monroe Institute, and you guys know I love the Monroe Institute. If you're not familiar, go check out my page. I talk about it. If not, just Google it. This is gonna be like opportunity of a lifetime, open to the public. Kids are welcome. There will be stuff specifically for kids. And if you have kids under the age of 14, they get in for free, and your ticket is 30% off. I'm gonna be there, my family's gonna be there, my dad is gonna be lecturing, and my brother Ryan is going to be a judge of the competition. I have something special for my followers. I have a discount code, 20% off your ticket. Tickets are selling out fast, so if you wanna go, use this discount. I don't get commission. I'm just helping the Psy Games because I love the people involved and I think it's going to be really amazing. I super believe in this. Claim your spot before they run out. Bring some friends. If you're planning on going, let me know in the comments. And if you're there and you happen to see me, I would love for you to come say hey. So come hang out with us at the Psy Games.
All right, so how cool is that? It seems like a lot of the same people from Contact in the Desert are going to be at this event as well. So speakers of this Psy event include, but are not limited to, Daniel Sheehan, he's from New Paradigm Institute, Chris Bledsoe, Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell from the Telepathy Tapes, Chris Ramsey from Area 52, Alan Seinfeld, Rizwan Virk, and more. And speaking of Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell, it turns out that they did a live Telepathy Tapes demo at Contact in the Desert, a demo.
That's cool.
With an autistic person,
right?
Proving that they could read people's minds. If you don't believe me, watch this clip for yourself.
So there's a lot of math here because we've got a random image and a random color. Now I'm going to hold this up to the crowd and then I'm going to hold it up to the stage. So this is the image that she selected with this color. So.
Are you ready, sweetie? You ready? So he just hold the color up. Can you spell the color? Hopefully you guys can see. Please hold the color that he just held up. Okay. Normally I tickle her, but she knows her demonstration. I can't touch her, so let's see. First one is B L U E. So she got her color. So now, I'm gonna hold the shape up. So can you tell me what shape it was? C I R C L E.
Leo. Fabulous.
So, I mean, there you have it, a demo live at Contact in the Desert.
How cool is that?
I mean, especially like in a room full of people, because like if you watch the telepathy tapes or listen to the telepathy tapes, a lot of those episodes were recorded in those kids' houses, like with their family around, in their homes, a place that they're used to.
Yeah.
In this situation, they're on a stage in front of a crowd at an event.
Right.
So I'm glad that they were able to still, have a demonstration like that, because like it takes a lot of strength from the person doing the demo to be able to do that in a room full of people. Because if autistic people are telepathic and can hear everybody's thoughts and stuff, I mean, I can't imagine being in a room full of 2,000 people.
Yeah, me either.
That's like Teresa Caputo talking about being in a room with 2,000 people, and all those 2,000 people have like 5 dead people that are with them. So 2,000 times 5, and all them dead people are trying to talk to her at the same time, and she's like, "Whoa, too many voices, too much." So I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. But yeah, so psi abilities, you guys, psi abilities. I feel like this topic is quickly gaining speed and momentum. It's not going away.
No, absolutely not. Right. And if you could master one psychic ability, which would it be? Precognition, psychokinesis, remote viewing, mind sight, or dowsing?
I would have to think about that for a minute before I answered it.
If you could train one psychic ability and develop it like a superpower, which one would you choose and why? Let us know in the comment section below. Do you believe these psi abilities are natural human gifts that we've simply forgotten or haven't learned how to fully use yet? Sound off in the comment section and let us know.
Next on the docket, still unchecked, the drone dilemma. Well, guys, here we go again. If you've been following this story with us, you already know drone incursions near airports and sensitive airspace are nothing new, but now the numbers are spiking. The FAA has just reported 411 illegal drone encounters between January and March of this year alone. That's a 25% increase over the same period from last year. We've talked about this before. Commercial pilots reporting near misses, drones hovering over military bases, and even encroaching on restricted airspace. And now it's worse. This isn't just about reckless hobbyists anymore. This is becoming a serious national security issue. Tonight, we're continuing our coverage of this growing concern, bringing you the latest data and one pilot's chilling warning, asking us, why isn't this being handled more urgently?
A tweet from Tim McMillan says, despite officials downplaying the issue, reports of drone incursions in restricted airspace have skyrocketed in the first quarter of 2025. To which Ross Cohart replied, excellent news story from Tim McMillan detailing massive increase in drone incursions in restricted airspace. Whatever these drones are, this underlines why the government, FAA News, POTUS, and Department of Defense need to stop downplaying the dangers of unauthorized incursion.
And according to that featured article from the debrief that's called "We Are Going to Have a Catastrophic Event, Drone Incursions in Restricted Airspace Are Surging in 2025, this article says, a geographic analysis of FAA data shows that the northeastern United States, where clusters of mystery drone sightings emerged in late 2024, continue to report high numbers of drone incursions into early 2025. Many of these incidents were concentrated near areas with strong U.S. military presence, particularly around weapons, manufacturing, and storage facilities. And if you look at this map, I mean, there's not much of the United States that this drone incursion situation is not occurring. There's like one little strip, like right in the middle of the country, but like everywhere else on both sides, there's a lot.
And I'm surprised by how many reports there are around Florida.
I know. I know.
You know, that's crazy.
This map and this story is only covering the United States. This drone thing is not secluded to the United States. We're not special. It's happening like everywhere. So, I mean.
And, you know, I'll be honest, I think this drone issue is immensely important, highlighted by the recent happenings with the Ukraine and Russian war. Ukraine just basically took out 40 Russian bombers with drones. And I mean, that should raise so many red flags. You know, why are we not putting more effort into trying to figure out what these drones were, if they were even drones at all? You know, I mean, we still don't even know that.
I feel like people are just starting to utilize drones in like a super negative way. And once people figure out how easy it is to drop off a bomb with a drone, what's going to keep them from loading up 300 more?
Exactly. You know, and I mean, if these quote unquote drones are really a drone from another country, which I don't think that's the case, but if they are, they could easily just take out a whole, swath of fighters or bombers or cities or, I mean, anything, right?
It's really scary.
It is scary. So I definitely think that we need more eyes on this. We need more people to try to figure out what this is.
Yeah. All right, and to keep this ball rolling, a tweet from Joe Khalil says, "We don't know what it was. In all honesty, we don't. Wow, on the drone incidents over New York and New Jersey back in December, a pretty big admission from the transportation secretary to our Libby Dean. Remember, President Trump said in January all aircraft spotted were FAA authorized."
Which Trump did not say that himself. That was his press secretary.
Speaking for him.
Yeah, but
Speaking for
did
him.
he really know what she was saying? Probably not.
If he didn't know what she's saying and she's speaking for him,
Yeah.
that's fucking scary too.
It is scary, but yeah.
What's happening? Okay. Okay, so that tweet was a reply to this tweet from Libby Dean that says, New Jersey drones. I asked Transportation Secretary Duffy if a foreign adversary was behind the drone activity over New Jersey last October. His response, quote, with complete clarity, I don't know, end quote. Let's hear that for ourselves.
But during those 3 or 4 days, when people were seeing drones and it wasn't a big national news story, we don't know what it was. In all honesty, we don't. We have to refine our technology and our deployment of that technology to make sure we don't just see airplanes, but we see drones in the airspace as well. And if you look at the national security issue, what's happening between Russia and Ukraine, drones are a key part of weaponry. And
I think that's what a lot of Americans were concerned, that it was a foreign adversary. So you're not necessarily ruling that out. You're saying we don't know at this point what it was.
With complete clarity, I don't know.
Wow. And is that something you're interested in investigating more? What does that investigation look like?
So there's the investigation. There's nothing we can do because we didn't see what was there. Though I'll tell you, I saw it, and that was very real. The point is, though, this is a whole of government approach. This is the FAA, this is DOT, this is DOD, this is others looking at what kind of system do we want to deploy to make sure we cover our airspace.
So yeah, like I said a minute ago, that is a massive security issue, in my opinion. An issue that deserves attention, that needs people to seriously take a look at it. And
this start, wasn't it October or November of last year?
Yeah, that's when people started reporting seeing a car-sized object hovering over their house, for nights on end. And then it would go away and then come back, go away and then come back at night.
So we're 8 months into this situation and still have absolutely no fucking clue what's going on.
But it's been happening a lot longer than that, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
With, the whole Langley incidents.
Yep.
And
was that 2019?
No, that was a couple years ago.
Oh.
I mean.
It was a couple years ago. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's been happening a while, and how many other incidents like this have been happening that haven't been publicized or televised as much as New Jersey? I mean, there's been quote unquote drone sightings or incursions all over the country. I feel like this issue really needs to be looked at with the seriousness it deserves, and I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't think people are looking at this like they should be.
Well, maybe we should not hear what people have to say about this and hear what an alien has to say about this.
Okay.
So if you want an ET's take on what this drone incursion is all about, let's take a look at this next tweet from UAP Juan that says, an ET telepathic message. This was a quick experiment referring to the New Jersey drones, a test of how humans would react. Not everyone saw the same. There are many experiments going on. Abductions are for imprinting knowledge. That alleged message was shared this morning by abduction researcher Yvonne Smith at her talk at Contact in the Desert. The part about other experiments going on, manipulation of human perception, is a key one, in my opinion. So the ET says it was a quick experiment to see what the heck we would do. I wonder how well we fared. Did we pass the test?
Right.
Well, how'd we do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Where this ET is talking about that abductions are for imprinting knowledge. I mean, that's super fascinating. What the heck does that mean?
And yeah, I mean, where did she get that message? That's what I want to know. Did she get it in a download? You know,
I'm not sure. Maybe the people that were there know. Maybe we'll see like the actual speech rather than just a picture and a quote from her presentation. I'm sure Contact in the Desert, what the hell? I'm sure Contact in the Desert will post her presentation.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I'd be really interested in watching that.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the drone thing's still going on. Why do you think some officials might downplay something this serious? Is it about fear or control? Does this pattern suggest a national security concern or something more otherworldly? If abductions are about imprinting knowledge, what kind of knowledge do you think they're trying to share? Sound off in the comment section below and let us know.
And last but not least, UAPDA call to action. This next story isn't just news, it's a call to action. You may remember our past coverage of the UAPDA, the proposed UAP Disclosure Act that could have set a historic precedent for transparency. It didn't pass the first time, but now it's back on the table. A new petition is gathering momentum, backed by scholars, former intelligence officials, and disclosure advocates, to push the U.S. government toward real, structured, and lawful disclosure of its UAP data. If you care about truth, oversight, and responsible access to the information our government has withheld for decades, this might be our moment. Here's what's happening and how you can help.
A tweet from the Soul Foundation says,
The Sol Foundation and our sibling organizations are instigating a new effort to pass the UAP Disclosure Act, UAPDA, and we're asking each of you to consider signing this petition in support of it. This groundbreaking 2023 legislation was never passed in its original, draft form, which would have established a federal UAP records review board and declassification process. Both crucial measures if we are to reach ground truth about UAP data and knowledge held by the U.S. government. Yet earlier this year, Senator Michael Rounds expressed his interest in reintroducing the original legislation, and we call on our peers in academia, civil society, and the private sector to back the senator and other members of Congress should they choose to act. There are several reasons to support passage of the UAPDA, Dedicated Disclosure Board. Disclosure is unlikely to take place unless a presidential administration establishes a board responsible for reviewing all records regarding the likely complex history of U.S. government engagements with UAP and possible non-human intelligences. The UAP issue is simply too complex for cabinet officials and White House staff members to handle on top of their other responsibilities. Congressional oversight and government compliance. Testimony from several retired government officials indicates that neither the executive nor the legislative branches have been able to maintain effective oversight of the classified government UAP activities, sometimes referred to as the Legacy Program, and relevant agencies are therefore unlikely to respond to requests for records from any government component not reporting, as the UAPDA Review Board would, to a president. Controlled Disclosure Plan. The legislation calls for a controlled disclosure plan that would avoid and mitigate negative social, economic, and geopolitical effects of disclosure by conducting its work deliberately and at a measured pace. The UAPDA could be the key that unlocks the door to knowledge that will be transformative for humanity. The legislation is currently our best shot at disclosure, and we call for its support. To sign the petition, please read it on our website and then click through to the signature portal. We at Sol thank you in advance for your support of this historic measure.
So there are moments in history when silence is no longer an option. And if you're watching this, you're part of that moment. The UAP Disclosure Act isn't just another bill, it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity to legally and methodically uncover the truth about UAP and our government's long-standing relationship with them. This isn't about conspiracy, it's about accountability. It's about access. It's about making sure the knowledge that may change the course of human history isn't buried in Black programs or classified vaults forever. Please go to thesoulfoundation.org and sign the petition there. It only takes a minute, but it adds your voice to a growing movement of scientists, researchers, veterans, experiencers, and citizens around the world to know that it's time. Time for truth, time for transparency, time for humanity to be trusted with the knowledge that has been locked away for way too long. This could be our best shot, and your signature might just help tip the balance. So yes, I'm all for this. I mean, the UAPDA is something that Danny Sheehan has been rooting and cheerleading for a long time.
Right.
And I mean, I looked at the petition and it's super easy to fill out. And once you guys do fill out the petition, come back and drop a comment that says UAPDA all day, so we know that you did that.
And while you're at it, make sure to go to the Leto Files Discord server and share your thoughts with the community there. An invite link can be found in the video description box below, along with all of the sources that are featured in this show, so make sure to check that out.
And that concludes this week's UAP Society's weekly UAP news show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And while you're here, please do us a favor and smash that like button lovingly. Click subscribe, ring our little notification bell, drop a lovely comment down below, and share this video with your family and friends to help spread the good word.
Let's raise the collective consciousness together in unity. All right. Much love. Peace.
And namaste.
What you're going to hear about today is nothing short of a miracle.